Today, we are going to discuss how new sanctions on Russia by President Biden could affect seniors. And we also have a new bill being proposed by Democrats that could potentially help people. But we are going to discuss whether or not this is actually helpful or if it's just a gimmick to try and help them in the midterms. So let's jump right into it. First, the top tax season is coming up, and I want to talk about the fact that if you are still working, there's a new tax credit that came about in 2020. And actually, the tax credit itself isn't new, but they expanded to include seniors. Now, the earned income tax credit. If you are going to be filing your tax this year, make sure your tax preparer puts that on your taxes. That could easily get you a few $100 to over $1,000 in a tax return just from the earned income tax credit. Basically, just gives you a little bit of extra money back if your income wasn't too high. And this could essentially be like a small stimulus trick for millions of people in this country. I think I saw that it's estimated that almost 5 million seniors could qualify for this tax credit and don't even know it exists. So basically, if you worked at all this last year, make sure you ask them about the earned income tax credit. It could give you a ton of money on your tax. Now let's talk about this new bill that Democrats proposed. And is this actually helpful or is it just a gimmick? Now, I will give you my opinion. Try and always unbiased. But this bill is called the Gas Price Relief Act. And basically, what it will do is temporarily suspend the 18% federal gas tax that they charge you on every gallon of gas that you buy. Now the Gas Price Relief Act sounds really cool. Like the title itself, sounds like it might be a really good strong stimulus package. But at the end of the day, they are giving people 18 cents per gallon. And let's think about this, especially if you are a senior, you might use maybe 50 gallons a month, right? So what does really end up saving you like a couple of dollars a month? Let's be honest here, folks. Maybe $10 a month. And don't get me wrong, $10 obviously that is helpful, especially with people on a fixed income. But to be honest, in my opinion, this is kind of a gimmick. It makes good headline. Quite honestly, we are not even sure if it's going to be fully approved. But this is what they are currently pushing. But at the end of the day, if you are saving people 18 cents per gallon, they really could have gone a lot further than that, right? They could have had something like an inflation relief act where they give people, especially lower income people, a couple $1,000 back on their taxes. Things like that, basically like a stimulus trick. And I know that a lot of Republicans say that, hey, well, the stimulus checks caused inflation. But it's been proven through data and studies showing that those folks who are lower income and got stimulus checks actually don't cause inflation because they basically use it for the bare bones necessities. And really, what's causing inflation is supply chain issues. And people who have higher incomes who can keep paying more and more as prices go up. So this is a new bill. Quite honestly, in my opinion, it's more of a gimmick. Obviously, at this point, we'll take any help we can get. But it doesn't really go far enough. Turning to what's happening with President Biden, these new sanctions on Russia and how that could affect senior is the form of inflation. Now the bottom line here, guys, if sanctions get stronger and stronger, this basically is going to lead to more inflation across the board because so many things depend on gas, whether that's travel, transportation, supply chains, just people driving to work, business that run their business and need to get things delivered. Everything goes up across the board, and those prices usually get passed on to the consumer. Not to mention things like, heating your house and paying your electric bill, things like that. Well, yesterday President Biden went live and he spoke about the fact that they're going to put some sanction on Russia. And basically that what they are doing here is, first of all, most people are saying that the sanctions are soft. It's nothing extreme. He came out really strong verbiage. But most experts are in agreement that these are really soft sanctions. They are putting sanctions on just a small group of people. Now this is the major banking system in Russia. And then basically the elite, the richest people in Russia closest to Putin. They are freezing their US assets. They are not allowing them to take loans and trade bidders. The market basically tries to get all the rich people around Putin, make them lose money, right? Cut them off from the US. And then they are hoping that those around Putin, those who are the elite, the rich can tell Putin to stop this because it's hurting their bottom line. Now, all of this stuff kind of goes over people's heads. But at the end of the day, the point here is if the sanctions keep getting worse, then what could end up happening is you end up in a global economy where things become less efficient, right? So like the US tells Russia they can't do certain things in US and vice versa. And then the less efficient global economies get, the more expensive things tend to get, right? That kind of makes sense. And all of those costs usually gets passed on to the consumer. So in a time where we are already worried about inflation, now we are worried about gas prices going up, which could affect inflation across the board. Seniors still haven't gotten their social security increase. This is something we need to monitor focus. Will President Biden handle this properly? And he went on to say that he understands that putting these sanctions could potentially make inflation even worse. And he said that they have some kind of plan to try and increase the gas supply and bring down the price in the short term. Now his exact words are that he is going on a collective investment to secure stability and global energy supplies with major oil producers and consumers. So basically, it looks like what they are doing is trying to create stronger contrast with other countries to increase the supply of gas. Now, not to slam Democrats, not a big sign here. We are going to talk about the fact later that really President Biden and Democrats have made the supply worse when it comes to gas by shutting down pipelines, like banning certain drilling of oils in the US, things like that. They did that stuff immediately for climate change, but it looks like really the timing of that couldn't have been worse, with supply chain issues getting so bad. With the economy reopening when the pandemic has been waning, a lot of experts are saying Democrats should have seen this coming, and they should have waited to do these things later down the road, after the supply chain usage subside. That is the end of today's video. I will keep updating you with the new. See you later.